This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Precisely 6:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Danushka Madhavala and read by Sharifa Tahir. Headlines. A program to develop 100 cities simultaneously under Prime Minister's leadership. The project of 60,000 houses for the low-income people has achieved 50% progress. Sinopharm first dose can be obtained at the Vihara Mahadevi Park Open Theatre from today for people in the Western Province. Minister Pavitra Vanyarachi warns that anyone who violates quarantine law will be seriously dealt with. News overseas, US to evacuate endangered Afghan translators. Sports, Messi agrees to stay at Barcelona on reduced wages. Local news in detail. The beautification and development of 100 cities that have not been developed in the country for a long time will begin at the end of this month. The initiative was disclosed at the Progress Review meeting of the Ministry of Urban Development held at the Temple Trees yesterday under the patronage of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. According to the Vision of Prosperity policy, it is hoped to reduce the disparity between major cities and regional cities and provide equal urban facilities to all people. The Prime Minister, in his capacity as the Minister in charge of the Ministry of Urban Development and Housing and the State Ministries of Urban Development, Waste Disposal, and Community Sanitation and Coastal Conservation and Lowland Development, reviewed the progress at the meeting yesterday. The Prime Minister inquired about the progress of the 32,000 houses being constructed for the low-income people in 60,000 housing project currently being implemented by the Urban Development Authority. The Urban Development Authority stated that the project has achieved 50% progress and is continuing without interruptions. The National Operations Centre for Prevention of COVID-19 Outbreaks says the general public above 30 years of age in the Western Province are able to get the first dose of the Sinopharm vaccine at the Vihara Mahadevi Park Open Theatre in Colombo from today. They said the vaccination program to be held between 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. from today until further notice. The latest community vaccination centre will be manned by Army medical teams, the NOCPCO said. Proof of permanent residence in the Western Province by way of production of the National Identity Card with electricity or telephone bill, or a copy of the electoral list or a residential proof from the Grama Niladhari is required to receive the vaccine at this new community vaccination centre at Vihara Mahadevi Park, they said. The Army-managed community vaccination centre at Verahara Base 1, Sri Lanka Army Medical Corps Regiment HQ, will continue the project as usual, but Battaramulla Diyatoyana Community Vaccination Centre will cease to function beginning today until it resumes operations again on Monday at 8:30 a.m. and continues till next Wednesday, the NOCPCO added. Minister of Health Pavitra Vanyarachi says the whole world is severely affected due to COVID-19 pandemic. There is no political agenda on this process. The general public should adhere to health guidelines strictly to get rid of this menace from this country. The strict law enforcement is inevitable at this juncture. The minister also alleged that some elements are staging protests under the name of trade union action to fulfill the aspirations of some bankrupt politicians. This menace will also set a bad example to others in the country. If anyone violates the quarantine law and does not follow health guidelines, he or she will be arrested and produced before courts. The rule of law applies to everyone equally without any difference. No one is above law, the minister added. The minister made these remarks while addressing a media conference at the Health Ministry Auditorium yesterday. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation giving you the news. We continue with more stories here at home. General Shavindra Silva, Army Commander and head of the National Operations Centre for Prevention of COVID-19 Outbreak, said if nothing major happens, the country is expected to be fully open by September. The Army Commander asserted that all civilians above 30 years in the country would be given the COVID-19 vaccine by September 2021 as per directions of the President. General Silva said it was not possible to keep the country closed forever, adding that the President often instructed the health officials and security forces to take all necessary health and safety measures to reopen the country. He also said that discussions have been initiated to open the country to foreigners and that the Minister of Tourism, Prasanna Ranatunga, is continuing to work in this regard. The Army Commander said that foreigners who come immunized with both doses of corona vaccines will be given the opportunity to enter the country after a PCR test. He said that the vaccination program has been expedited throughout the country and that the medical units of the three armed forces, including the Army, will extend their fullest contribution in this regard. According to Epidemiology Unit of the Health Ministry, 1,540 new COVID-19 cases were reported yesterday. Among the new cases reported Wednesday, 1,453 are from the New Year cluster and 87 are foreign arrivals currently in quarantine. According to the Epidemiology Unit report at 11 p.m. Wednesday, a total of 279,059 COVID-19 cases have been reported and 22,471 infected patients are being treated at hospitals, while 253,014 patients have fully recovered and been discharged from hospitals. According to the Epidemiology Unit report, so far a total of 4,520,537 people have received a first dose of COVID-19 vaccine and 1,537,230 have received the second dose. That's in local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
It is recommended that 70 to 30 proportional representation system for the future local government elections. The recommendations are mentioned in the final report of the committee appointed to look into the local government procedures. Earlier, a recommendation was made to make a change of 60 to 40 representation. Later, it was changed based on the other factors of the election procedures. The relevant final report was handed over to Minister Janaka Bandarathenakon recently.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
On Watchlight, the health officials request the public to follow health guidelines during this period. Although travel restrictions are relaxed, and the passengers are advised to follow the health guidelines strictly, the public is requested to follow special guidelines released by the Ministry of Health to control the third wave of corona outbreak. The health officials warned that further travel restrictions will be determined in future based on the behavior of the general public. That came to you on Watchlight. Moving on to world news headlines. US to evacuate endangered Afghan translators. EU unveils sweeping climate change plan. Britney Spears can hire own lawyer in conservatorship case, judge rules. World news in detail. The United States is set to begin evacuations of Afghan interpreters who assisted US-led forces during the conflict and are deemed to be at risk. Operation Allies Refuge is set to start during the last week of July, the White House said. It comes as the US withdraws its forces from Afghanistan ahead of the 11th of September deadline set by President Joe Biden. In recent weeks, the Taliban have made rapid advances across the country. An official speaking on condition of anonymity told the Reuters news agency that the initial evacuation will include about 2,500 people who are likely to be housed in military facilities either in the US or a third country while their visa applications are processed. The special immigrant visa program is offered to those who worked with the U.S. government or the American-led force during the Afghanistan war that began in 2001. The European Union has announced a raft of climate change proposals aimed at pushing it towards its goal of becoming carbon neutral by 2050. A dozen draft proposals, which still needs to be approved by the bloc's 27 member states and the EU Parliament, were announced on Wednesday. They include plans to tax jet fuel and effectively ban the sale of petrol and diesel-powered cars within 20 years. The proposals, however, could face years of negotiations. The plans triggered serious infighting at the European Commission, the bloc's administrative arm, as the final tweaks were being made, sources told the AFP news agency. Finally, on world news, a Los Angeles judge has said U.S. pop star Britney Spears can choose her own lawyer in the fight to end her controversial conservatorship. The ruling came on Wednesday as Spears addressed a court for the second time in less than a month. Spears demanded once again that her father, Jamie Spears, be removed from the legal agreement that has controlled her affairs for years. In court last month, she made a dramatic plea to end the agreement. On Wednesday, she repeated that appeal in an emotional statement in which she called for her father to be charged with conservatorship abuse. That's on World News.
Development News is brought to you by
Quality matters than price. So as an engineer, I recommend Melva RB500. It's made with virgin billets using the latest technology. Melva RB500, number one in Sri Lanka. Truly Sri Lankan.
And on development news, the minor oil spill that occurred during bunkering at the Hambantota International Port has been successfully cleaned up by the emergency response unit of the port. The oil spill occurred at approximately 6 p.m. on Sunday, July 11, 2021, whilst a bunkering barge was refueling a commercial vessel that had called the port. Minimal chemicals were utilized in the cleaning operation, keeping the environment in mind by using eco-friendly means, including manual oil retrieval, was carried out.
Development News was brought to you by
Quality matters than price. So as an engineer, I recommend Melva RB500. It's made with virgin billets using the latest technology. Melva RB500, number one in Sri Lanka. Truly Sri Lankan.
Lionel Messi has agreed to stay at Barcelona on a deal until 2026 that includes reducing his wages to half of his previous salary. The announcement is dependent on player departures that will allow Barca to fund the Argentina captain's wages. Messi, 34, was a free agent after his contract that reportedly paid him £123 million a season expired on the 30th of June. He is on holiday after winning the Copa America, and the finer details of the contract are yet to be finalized. Re-signing Messi was the principal summer target of new chairman Joan Laporta. That came to you on Sports News.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka will have swap agreements or arrangements with central banks and various other institutions, including Sri Lanka's commercial banking sector, to help Sri Lanka to tide over any disturbances in the short term. Real economic measures are being followed by the government irrespective of export promotion activities, measures such as sensible implementation of import controls and further promotion of remittances, whilst helping relevant industries in the tourism sector to revive after COVID-19 issues, Central Bank Governor Professor W.D. Lakshman said.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic news, courtesy of...
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011.
A joint committee had been appointed to oversee the process of converting the Bandaranaike International Airport at Kattunayake into a smart airport. Tourism Minister Prasanna Ranatunga said the joint committee will comprise of representatives from the Tourism Ministry, Digital Technology Ministry and Aviation Export Zones Development Ministry. Accordingly, a pilot project to convert the BIA into a smart airport will start in January next year and will be implemented on a systematic action plan. With the conversion of the BIA to a smart airport, passenger flight and cargo operations will be streamlined to offer a better service for both passengers and airlines.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
A few showers will occur in Sabaragamu and Western provinces and in Kandy, Nuwara, Galle and Matara districts. Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in Eastern and Uva provinces and in Mullaitivu district during the evening or night. General public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
Back to the headlines. A program to develop 100 cities simultaneously under Prime Minister's leadership. The project of 60,000 houses for the low-income people has achieved 50% progress. Sinopharm first dose can be obtained at the Vihara Mahadevi Park Open Theatre from today for people in the Western Province. Minister Pavitra Wanyarachi warns that anyone who violates the quarantine law will be seriously dealt with. News overseas, US to evacuate endangered Afghan translators. Sports, Messi agrees to stay at Barcelona on reduced wages. With that, we conclude the morning bulletin of news.